How's it going, my lovely dead disciples? I am the Shattered Reaper, and today, one moment, there we go. That'll work for now, actually. Make my face a little bit smaller. There we go. So, hello, I am the Shattered Reaper, and today we are going to continue The Life and Suffering of Sir Bronte Let's Play, where last we left off, things got crazy. So, after having tried to pull off a heist to try and save a number of witches, which we did save a number of them, we unfortunately ended up having to deal with Sophia betraying the entirety of the Lotless, and then the collapse of the Lotless, and now, because of that, both she and I are part of the secret chancery, and she is upset at me because I gave away the names of the remaining Lotless, even though she was the one that put me in the position in the first place, and also was the reason that the Lotless ended up falling apart in the first place. So, you know what, Sophia? You can bitch at me all you want about that choice that I made, but you were the one that put me in the position when I did not have enough manipulation, did not have enough in being able to scheme or whatnot. If you could not succeed with what you were trying to do, what made you think I was going to do any better? Exactly. What did you expect me to do? So yeah, Sophia is just being bitchy with me, and, it's kind of one of those situations where I kind of wish my own opinion would have mattered a little bit, because if she saw what my opinion of her would have been, then guess what? It would have been at the bottom at this point. But, anyway, so that's how our youth ended. We were part of a revolution, and it collapsed almost as soon as it started. Thanks, Sophia. But now we are part of the secret chancery, which basically means we are part of some secret spy organization. And now we have to figure out what to do from here. The years of your youth have come to an end. The time has come to leave the capital behind to return to your family and new business in your hometown of Anizotte. The years away from home were full of tumult and hardship. Your adult shoulders now bear the burden of your first life-changing decisions. Did you have the freedom to choose this law for yourself? Or was it your destiny all along, ever since your childhood years? All you can do now is follow the path that lies before you. I mean, we still have that bond of friendship, so technically we haven't broken it just yet. And diplomacy is still unknown. We are a follower, but our manipulation is still naive. Eloquence is still a bit, other than theology, we're still kind of inexperienced, basically. At the very least, we are manipulative, so that's something, I suppose.
A full adult now, I returned from the capital a changed man. Yet, my hometown was not the same as I had left it. Fate had difficult times in store for all of us.
Chapter 4, Peacetime. A note from underground. The carriage makes its way along the road. You see the land of Magra through the window, empty and desiccated by ancient magic. Your home, Anizotte, is but a few hours away along this road. The carriage is stuffy and hot from the sun. Even with the thick blinds pulled tight, it is a familiar heat. But you will now need to get used to it again. The heat weighs heavily on you, but it also reminds you of your childhood. You will see your family again soon. How will they react to you? Will they accept you after you betrayed their hopes and their trust? You are back in your native province. You will be home soon, but you are no longer the boy who took this very road to the capital 4 years ago. But who are you now? A clandestine outlaw? A rebel? Or an agent of the secret chancery? What future awaits you now? Can you get your freedom back? Can you save everything you hold dear? To drive away the worries about your new life and new destiny, you reread Sophia's letter yet again. I'm glad you didn't do anything stupid and chose to seize your chance for freedom, Brante. I'll go to Anizotte a week after you. Both of us coming back at the same time might attract unwanted attention. best if nobody even knows we have anything to do with each other. We'll find an excuse for our frequent meetings later. You should go home and reconnect with your family. Don't draw any attention. Keep your head down. Don't leave that old house of yours. When the time comes, I'll find you. Tell everyone you're planning to open a print shop. Find a building to rent for it, someplace far from prying eyes. It'll be our underground headquarters. I'll tell you more about our mission when we meet. You are going to have to do a lot better than that, Sophia, to try and convince me you're actually planning on changing things. After what you just did, it's going to take a lot for you to regain my trust, and not try to sell me out. At the very least, I never sold you out. I may not have made the bravest decisions to help you. I couldn't do anything. But at least I never sold you out like you did with me. That's all. You put the letter back in your pocket. The walls of Anizotte have finally emerged from the horizon. Before you do anything else, you are going home. Chapter 4, Peacetime. You are back in your home province, but you are no longer... Okay, I already read that. Most important event that will end this chapter, only one of them will happen. Glory to the Empire. You stop the Anizotte revolt dead in its tracks and become Felipe's closest confidant. The Free City. Together with Mayor Egmont, the last straw incites a rebellion among the common folk to fight for their rights. Master of Anizotte. You help the magistrate regain control of Anizotte in exchange for protection against the secret chancellery. Spy network greater than 8, Remy El Vermont made a deal, Mayor Egmont in danger. The last straw's riot. The last straw breaks free of its chain and incites a full-blown uprising against the Empire. Unrest 9 out of 10. Felipe El Ferro saw your loyalty has not been made. Sophia grown close. Farewell. Felipe's plan came to fruition. You finally earned your freedom. Outcomes for the Bronte family. The most important events that will happen in the House of Bronte at the end of this chapter. Ennobled by the sword, the Bronte family becomes a hereditary dynasty of nobles of the sword, its status passed down from generation to generation. Favored by the Overseer, the Bronte family becomes a hereditary dynasty of the sword, earning the favor of Overseer Gaius Tempest and a place at court. Heir of the family, you succeed your elder brother Stefan as the heir of the Bronte family, ennobled by the sword, heir Stefan Bronte. The family falls apart. The Bronte family is no more. Family. Events that can happen to the Bronte. A family of means. The Bronte family becomes known throughout the city for its wealth. Mother recovers. Mother finds the strength to recover from a grave illness. Gloria Bronte. Robert adopts Gloria, and she becomes a full-fledged Bronte. Branded by dishonor. The Bronte name is dragged through the dirt, never to recover. The family of peace. Oh, you find a way to unite the Bronte family and end all strife at home. Profitable business. Thanks to your investment, the print shop becomes more and more believable as a front for your underground operations, and may actually turn profit sooner. Invest in the business. Stockpile of arms. You have enough weapons to arm a squad of rebels loyal to you alone. Scheming. Stash of gunpowder. Seize the guns. Sophia has the gunpowder. Sophia gains access to the stash of gunpowder. Stash of gunpowder. You can obtain a considerable amount of gunpowder. Occupation screen is now available. Unrest 4, discontent, spy network, infiltration. Interesting. Patriarch Cassius, Overseer Gaius Tempest, struggle for power -2, church schism, wealth of Magra, affluence, order, peace. Okay, and we've already read all of that. Personality Volker. Okay, so we're exhausted still. So we have tarnished honor at the moment. Wealth, moderate means. Unity is at peace. Heir is Stefan Bronte. And family is still the same as it was before. Oh wait, what happened with Nathan there? The youngest child in the family and your only full sibling. He has been secretive, inept, and aloof since he was a little boy, started reading sacred texts at a very young age, still hasn't found a place for himself in society. Oh, and that's Gloria now. Lowborn, +3 sympathy. The illegitimate daughter of your mother, Lydia. She has never met her real father. Grew up in a difficult position of an unacknowledged child. Since your departure, she's got involved in a social struggle in Anizotte. And then there's Stephen Brante. Still looks as much of a dick as I remember he was, except older. Robert Bronte's son for his first marriage and a noble by birth. Blah blah blah. He is indifferent to me. Sophia certainly looks different. What does it say about her? She's embittered. Your former neighbor, Sophia, is waging a struggle against the Empire's order. She's the leader of the secret society named The Last Straw. Oh, we'll see how this one goes after your last struggle. After giving it away. Gaius Tempus, younger brother of Emperor Uther II, assigned to the province of Magra as the imperial overseer. Much more reserved in his views than his elder brother Cornelius, he seeks to help the empire survive as it faces the changes to its outcome. Octavia, I wonder if there's anything different. Nope, still the same. Alright. Let us continue then. After I get some water. Homecoming. Oh boy, this is gonna be tough. The carriage stops. The familiar gate. Your bedroom window. Same one you used to climb out of night from time to time. The well-tended garden with its imported soil, delightful greenery, and mother's beloved violet irises. The porch you used to jump off of when you were little. You are home. It's just depressing moment after depressing moment. You touch the handle of the front door and hold for a moment. It's been 4 years since you left for Returnig, but it feels like yesterday. The air inside is cool as usual. Father cannot stand a stuffy room and insists on constantly airing out the house. Inside the house, the first thing you hear is the sound of someone running out of the library. Your sister Gloria appears and immediately throws her arms around you. Gloria. Her joy is so strong, you barely manage to stay on your feet. Gloria is dressed in men's clothing, including culottes and a frock coat and a necktie with a massive pin. She is almost unrecognizable in her new attire. There are dark circles under her eyes, as though from lack of sleep or frequent tears. Brother, I've been waiting for you for so long. I'm proud to see you've chosen your own path and decided to live the way you want. So good. You're actually going to open your own print shop. You're going to print books? Even poetry? Speaking of poetry, from the inner pocket of your jacket, you produce a small book bound in soft black leather. Gloria gingerly accepts your gift. She notices the author's name, Char Melanides, on the cover and knits her brow. But after quickly flipping through the pages, she showers you with gratitude. I thought Melanides was just a warlock. I had no idea he wrote poetry. How fascinating. I'm going to read it all, from cover to cover. Mother comes out of the sitting room, leaning on Nathan's arm. You immediately see signs of illness mentioned in the letters from home. Her back is bent, her hair is gray, a thin web of wrinkles crossing her face covers her face, and her complexion has lost its color. She slowly embraces you. Her arms feel nearly weightless. You press your face into her shoulders, breathing in the nearly forgotten, dearly beloved smell. Mother holds you by the shoulders and studies you for a long time. You've been away so long, son. It's such a shame your journey was in vain. You didn't become a judge or even a priest. I guess it's your fate to bear your lot until the very end. But you'll endure it. That's how I raised you. Nathan approaches you after Mother. Your younger brother is the same height as you now. His hair almost reaches his shoulders, but he still has the same lost look in his eyes he had when he was a boy. It's good to see you, brother. Home just hasn't been the same without you. Who cares about your estate, right? I'm just glad you're here with us again. You pat Nathan on the back. And here comes the one to ruin everything. Loud footsteps echo down the stairs. Stefan appears. His shoulders have grown broader and his features have become harsher, just like grandfather's. He stares you and Nathan down with contempt, his arms crossed on his chest. Welcome back, commoner. I'd hoped you'd become my equal, but apparently you just didn't have it in you. I guess you're no better than Nathan. I can only hope you'll know your place from now on. Why did Father even send you to the capital in the first place? As Stefan says these words, you see Father appear from the study. He looks older now. His back is hunched and he squints. There are deep lines around his mouth and silver threads in his dark hair and mustache. He stops a few steps away and examines you from head to toe. He does not say a word, shaking his head slowly. You explain yourself to Father. This was the only path you could have taken. The college and the judge's calling were not for you. However, your time in the capital was not spent in vain. You made many influential friends there. Now you plan to open a print shop in Anizotte and make a good living. You do your very best to make this sound convincing. No one can ever see through your cover story. When I sent my son to the capital, I expected him to return a nobleman. The man who stands before me is a commoner, a merchant, an artisan. I had such high hopes for you. But our family's future rests in Stefan's hands now. Oh well. I've had enough time to make my peace with this. You are still a member of the family. We'll see how your shop fares. Perhaps you can still find a way to contribute to the Bronte household. Wakatta. He lets out a bitter chuckle. Then after a pause, Father spreads his arm wide to embrace you. You're finally home, my son. Well then, time for dinner. Your mother has prepared a veritable feast in your honor. For the first time in years, your entire family shares a meal at the same table. Not gonna talk to Stefan. At all. He probably wouldn't want to speak to me anyway. I'm gonna find out how Mother is doing. You cautiously ask Mother about her health over dinner. Oh, it's nothing, Volker. I have no complaints. I've just been a little weak lately. It happens at my age. I humbly accept whatever fate the twins have chosen for me. Having said this, she stops abruptly and looks upward. Father cuts in. You know, son, you should tell us about your life in the capital. What gave you the idea to open a print shop? You mentioned in one of your letters that you've seen the Imperial family with your own eyes. What are the Tempests like? You have to relate the 4 years you spent in Returnig, carefully omitting anything that might reveal your secret mission. Only later that night, while talking to Nathan on the back porch, do you learn more about Mother's health. I'll be frank with you. Mother isn't doing so well. Lori and I do our best not to leave her her alone. You can ask her questions, but her answers often don't make sense, and she keeps falling silent in the middle of a conversation like she did today. Her illness is consuming her. No, if Mother passes, she may not be reborn. I dread to think what will become of Father then, and of Gloria. Gloria's had it hard too lately. Stefan has treated her like dirt for the last year. I think he plans to drive her out of the house so her origins won't taint the Bronte reputation anymore. Stefan only cares about one thing now, getting our family ennobled by the sword, so for him, Gloria is just an obstacle between him and his goal. You spend quite some time in silence, gazing at the radiant stripe of the shining pillar, as it grows more and more luminous against the darkening sky. The Bronte family is about to face some challenging times. But at least I can reconnect with my dear mother. After several days of searching and inquiring, you find a suitable location for the print shop. You choose a 2-story building on a dead-end street away from the pedestrian thoroughfares, right next to the city's outer wall. Spacious and sturdy, it has more than enough space for a printing press and workbenches. The basement is dry and the windows are too tiny to peek through. It's the perfect location for a clandestine headquarters. You inspect the rooms. This corner will be good for the typesetting area, and the shelves of ink can go over there. Before you finish, Sophia knocks at the door. Once inside, she casts a glance over the rooms and walls and chuckles with approval. This is just what we need, Brante. Perfect location. I couldn't have found anything better myself. Guess the capital taught you well. I'm glad to see I was right about you. This job will be a lot easier with your help. You do realize, Sophia, that we aren't exactly on friendly terms at the moment. I certainly hope that perhaps you might also have taught me a few things, and not in the best of ways. Or at least none that were favorable to me. Sophia brushes a layer of dust from an old wooden crate, and lights her pipe as she sits. So, how about I tell you what you and I are up to in this town, eh? Remember what we did in the capital? Well, we're gonna do the same trick here in Anizotte. That's our mission. Philippe wants us to found an underground society here too. Anybody who wants to rebel and riot, we'll let them join. We'll also keep them in check and use them to do whatever the secret chancellery says. Still don't know everything about Felipe's plan yet, but I could tell you he was really angry about how the Inquisition cast all the dirt we dug up on Patriarch Junius to the Four Winds. Here in Anizotte, Philippe wants the real deal. You frown. The real deal? What is that supposed to mean? It means you and I have to find all the troublemakers in town and take charge of them. Anybody who's willing to fight for their rights, we turn them into an organized force under our command. And then we'll use them to do whatever Felipe wants. Felipe wants to take the city in his own hands. He needs disorder. Little disturbances and riots, enough unrest so there's always an excuse to arrest folks whenever they need. But Philippe always has to be in control. This is the secret chancellery's way. As long as the streets are restless, everybody, especially the overseer, will keep thinking good old Sir Felipe El Foro is a real useful friend to have, savior of the Empire and all that, the last bulwark against the rabble-rousers. The more riots and unrest we incite, the stronger our underground force will become, and the stronger the secret chancellery will get. Once the people are shouting in the squares, the prefectures and the magistrate will be powerless, and our buddy Felipe will pick up the slack. You're following so far? So, you were supposed to incite unrest. Is that all you have to do? That's just the beginning. Felipe also wants the Lesser Quorum broken up at some point in the future. It's full of folks who don't like the way things are done in the Empire. But the Empire's lucky. For now. The Lesser Quorum spends too much time bickering and not enough time trying to work together. That'll work in our favor. So by the time Felipe wants to blackmail the Lesser Quorum, we need to have our own underground network. and it's got to be big for his needs. We'll frame quorum members, gather accusations, plant agents, stuff like that. In other words, we'll do the Secret Chancellery's dirty work for them. Now let's get down to business. Here in Anizotte there are some big shots who are opposing the Imperial Order. We need to do our best to exploit them for our cause. If we're lucky enough, maybe we can even get them on our side. Sophia starts counting on her fingers. Number 1 on my list is Augustine L. Bourne, Prefect of Magra. He's almost a relative of you, isn't he? When Gaius Tempus was first appointed Overseer of Magra, he was the only member of the Provincial Council who openly supported him. L. Bourne is one of the most powerful nobles in Magra, but he has always protected the common folk. He could be our main ally, or a real dangerous enemy. The second fellow worth mentioning is Mayor Egmont, leader of the wealthy commoners in the Lesser Quorum. He's an old merchant who got rich mining silver and managed to weasel his way into provincial politics as a commoner. We need to ensure Egmont's support as soon as possible. He's rich, powerful, and will be useful to our cause. Last on my list is Father Lenard. He's the abbot of the Temple of the Silver Tree and the local spiritual leader of the New Believers. Right now, lots of Magran commoners are rejecting Asatius' teaching of the laws, and it's all thanks to Lenard and his influence. If those folks manage to cast off one burden, it should be easy to talk them into rejecting another. Sophia taps her pipe against the crate, knocking the remaining tobacco onto the floor. One more thing, Brante. We're going to be manipulating people. I'm talking lies, half-truths, using and exploiting folks. You name it. We need to get them to follow us. That's a tough thing to do. Apparently you did not hear about, Anyway, you did not hear about how absolutely thorough I was in playing Orlay's The Game, so I think you underestimate my talents. People can smell phonies a mile away, so we have to believe everything we see. I mean, really believe it. From the bottom of our hearts. If you aren't ready to die for your cause, why expect it from other folks? But you also have to remember who we're really doing all this for. She trails off. You wait for a moment, then ask Sophia why she has agreed to do this. Why is she working for Felipe? Can't she run from him or use her magic to subdue him? Sophia's deep eyes focus all their attention on you. The merciless Magran sun fills the room through a narrow window. Reflected in her eyes is a multitude of yellow sparks. You think I never tried it, Brante? Don't be naive. Magic will not help me to bring Felipe down. When I use my power, you notice it quickly, and Felipe notices it even faster. Oh, oops. If I try to enchant him ever again, I'll be collared and sent back to the House of Humility. I'm never going back there again. Not ever. As for escaping, there's no hiding from the Secret Chancery. Sooner or later, they will find me. The Empire is absolute. The Empire is eternal. The Empire is everywhere. We're all in the same cage. There's no way out of it. And so it will be as long as the Empire still stands. So forget about running away. If you want to get out of this alive, just do what I tell you. Trust me, and I'll take care of you. And as I've said, you'll have to do a lot more if you want me to trust you again. Think about that. Now let's talk about your next step. We need to shore up our cover story. Make sure it doesn't fall apart the first time gendarmes take a close look at it. Get this print shop to work. You need employees. You're good at picking the right people, just as good as me, so you'll do the hiring. Choose people who are loyal, people who do the job and keep their mouths shut. When Felipe gets here, we'll have to show him what we've accomplished so far, and you don't want to disappoint him. So you better get cracking. We've got a lot of work to do. With that, Sophia nods to you and leaves. You are left alone to pace the rooms of your future print shop and think, what will you do first? Hire rebels? Don't have enough manipulation. Hire spies, moles, and crooks? Scheming? Not at 12, it's at 7. Yeah, I'm better with manipulating than I am scheming. You look for people who are willing to get their hands dirty without asking too many questions. Commit to the printing business. What's this I got? You invest more into the print shop and hire skilled labor in order to transform your cover story into a proper business. The undercover part of your job can wait. You have to get the print shop up and running first. You will not be satisfied by a mere semblance of a business. No. You are going to found a successful shop capable of turning a profit. You convince father to contribute a portion of the family's funds to the venture, and purchase a print press, movable type, quality paper, and expensive ink. Then you hire skilled labor, the best printers you can find in Anizotte. They will teach the future Resistance members whom you will hire later. It is such a pleasure to watch the print shop come to life. You may have begun this undertaking for an entirely different cause, but now you have turned the print shop into something that is yours. Okay, so I did lose a bit of wealth for the family, unfortunately. The first thing you print is a thick stack of advertising sheets. Soon these black and red leaflets appear on every street corner of Anizotte. Bronte's print shop is open for business. Willpower +5. Okay, we're ready for action. Good. The first thing you print is a thick stack of advertising sheets. So, oh wait, oops. I already read that. You started your service for the secret chancery by opening a print shop as a cover. Profitable business has happened. Invest in the business, wealth is greater than one. Thanks to your investment, the print shop becomes much more believable as a front for your underground operations and may actually turn a profit sooner or later. Reception at the Bronte residence. You come back home after a short stroll through the city. As soon as you set foot in the house, you are greeted by Stefan, who invites you to have a talk in Father's office. Stefan, of all people, greeted me? What has happened here? When you enter the room, Father has a heap of letters in front of him, and is signing them one after another. Son, Stefan and I must discuss an important matter with you. While you were in the capital, our family formally petitioned the overseer to grant us the nobility of a sword. We have 3 generations of noble blood already. We have the right to make our nobility hereditary. Your grandfather took the first steps towards the nobility of the sword as soon as Stefan was born. Now, we are on the brink of becoming the El Brontes. If Overseer Gaius Tempest and the nobles of the province deem us worthy, we will receive a hereditary title. All nobles of the Bronte family will remain noble forever, as will their descendants. Father and I do our utmost to maintain the family's position, but our goal can be reached only if our reputation remains unblemished in the eyes of high society. The nobility is watching our every step. Father lays a hand on your shoulder. Now, this is your cause too. The future of our family depends on it. We need an estimable reputation and wealth. Everyone bearing the name of Brante affects it. Remember that with every action you take, Volker. You will have to appear before Anizotte High Society. We're going to host a reception for the nobility in our home soon. You must uphold the honor of our family, brother. You will relay the news from Returnig to our guests and present yourself in a favorable light. With Stefan at the helm, the entire family spends a full week preparing for the majestic reception. The house is flooded with decorations and new tableware. Delicacies are cooking in the kitchen round the clock, and the napkins now bear an embroidered oak branch in chains, the Bronte family crest. Gloria is the only one to neglect the common cause. Were it up to me, I wouldn't be seen at this hypocritical gathering, but I don't want to let Sir Robert down. He's the only reason I plan to stay for the event. The evening of the reception is come. Dignified conversation and the clinking of glasses fill the house. Among your guests are many high-born, powerful people. Your father and Stefan dance from guest to guest, making sure no one is overlooked. Young Volker, how splendid to see you! So what was your time in the capital like? You exchange pleasantries with a high-placed relative. Meanwhile, Gloria and Mother spend the evening on a settee by the wall without drawing any attention. Neither your father nor your elder brother introduced them to the noble guests. Still, one of the guests, a young nobleman of the sword named Jose El Pelletier, keeps staring at Gloria in fascination. Your sister averts her eyes, bemused. Lady Gloria, you are the true gem of the evening. You look so marvelously daring. I haven't seen you even in the capital. Is it me, or does he seem a bit suspicious? Young nobleman of the sword, heir to an old and powerful Malgren dynasty, received his education in the Imperial College. When you walk past Gloria, you hear her hurried whisper. Volker, please talk to me. The Sir El Pelletier keeps following me. I feel uneasy. Why does he walk from me? I'm just a lowly commoner. Come with me to the other side of the room, although I'll probably still stand out amongst all these refined nobles. Look, it's Bronte the painter. I wonder what's brought him so far from the capital. It would be famous if he could paint our family portrait. We should all be on canvas together. We're one big happy family after all. Wine glass in hand, you cast a look across the crowded room. It's time to choose how you will spend the evening. Share news from the capital, present your mother and sister. Even though they are lore-born, your mother and sister deserve the attention of the guest. Oh, I don't have enough diplomacy. Don't have enough eloquence or manipulation. Purchase a family portrait. Talk about your victory in the tournament. I did not take part in any tournaments. This is the only option. I'm pretty sure this is not going to end well. You take your mother and sister by the arm and lead them to the middle of the room. You ask if you can have everyone's attention for a moment in order to present the hostess of the evening. May I present Lydia Brante, wife of Sir Robert, and their daughter Gloria. The guests avert their gaze in confusion. Mother bows with difficulty in response, while Gloria supports her by her shoulders. My esteemed guests, it is a great honor for us to have you in our home. Although we are not all of noble descent, the Bronte family will always strive to give you the welcome you deserve. Father, dumbfounded, walks up to Mother and takes her hand. You order the musicians to start playing. Father has no choice but to dance with his wife. The guests whisper disdainfully to one another, but maintain decorum and join the dance. Stefan, furious, rushes up to you. How dare you! You are not a child anymore, Volker! Why draw the nobility's attention to the fact that we still have these commoners in our family? You retort that this is what the Brontes are. If Stefan is so concerned about his family, he has to acknowledge the existence of Lydia, Gloria, and Nathan, not try to conceal them from the rest of the world. With an aggrieved air, Stefan rejoins the guests. Your parents keep dancing slowly. The illness has taken Mother's form of grace, but Father carefully holds her, as if carrying her along with him. Gloria watches them, mesmerized. It took a lot of courage, Volker. Well, I mean, that was the only option I have, but thank you. Let everyone see that our family is more than our title and position. We're people, too. This is not going to work well with our honor, is it? Father and Mother finally finish the dance and come back to you. Mother gives you and Gloria a gentle hug. That was a wonderful idea, son. My legs aren't what they used to be, but it's been so long since I danced with Robert. Oh, Gloria likes me more. Hooray. The night is over. After the guests leave, you discuss the future of the family long into the night. Stefan, yeah, whatever, I don't care. Oh, but there's more unity in the family, but we're still tarnished in our honor and reputation. Willpower plus 5. It didn't take away willpower, so that's good. A rock in a hard place. The Bronte home has been uneasy for several months now, with Father traveling all over the province for his judicial duties. The animosity between Stefan and Gloria has grown to a full-blown feud. Your elder brother tries to use his position as heir to keep his sister in check and make her behave in accordance with her estate. Gloria repudiates his authority. Their fights rock the house on a daily basis. Eventually, after returning from his latest trip, Father gathers Stefan, Gloria, Nathan, and you in his office. His somber look portends a difficult conversation. Stefan gazes at his father defiantly. Gloria is poised to lash out and run away. Nathan quietly keeps to the side. Children, for a long time now, our family has been striving to become nobles of the sword. Every noble member of the Bronte family will gain a hereditary title. This is your grandfather's dying wish. Gloria says out loudly. And why am I here, Sir Robert? She's right. This is a Bronte matter. Wait until I finish, Stefan. I am still the head of this household. If you are truly so concerned about honor, show your father some respect. It can't be helped. Not all of us are noble. But now we must be united as never before. We must work together to protect the reputation and wealth of this family. You, Stefan, perpetually humiliate Gloria. Father, all I am trying to do is put her in her place. You know perfectly well the consequences of any attention Gloria might attract. Every step is being observed. The nobles will make pariahs of our family for all eternity if they remember Gloria's filthy origins and your reckless marriage to Lydia. Whoa! Father turns red in the face, but with considerable effort he remains composed. Not cool, Stefan! That is so. Our grandfather did everything in his power to remedy your mistakes. Please, Father, don't repeat them. Gloria speaks up. I'm just trying to live, Sir Robert, but Stefan wants to lock me in a cage so nobody will ever lay eyes on me. That's not it at all. You are a lowborn, but you don't live by a lot. You do whatever takes your fancy. You're constantly grumbling about the order of things. Did you know, Father, that she defies all prohibitions by continuing to write poetry? As far as you're concerned, anyone who contradicts you is an insurgent. When will you grasp the idea that you may not argue with a nobleman? I am the heir of his family, and my word is your law. Purple with rage, Father slams his fist on the table. It is rare to see him so furious. Both your elder brother and sister instantly fall silent. Frightened, Nathan shrinks into a corner. Hold your tongues, both of you! Let Volker speak. He has witnessed your quarrels. You should know best which of you is in the right. Send Gloria to Valona. You persuade Gloria to go on a trip somewhere far away from Stefan. This will help them bury the hatchet. Appeal to Nathan. Your younger brother's words will help you settle the dispute. Stefan should give Gloria some respect. She is a member of his family too. Gloria must stop bringing shame to your family by defying your lot. I'm gonna go with send Gloria to Valona. You take a consolatory tone. You note that the tempers are running too high. Your siblings will benefit from spending some time apart. They need to cool off, then try to settle their differences. From what you hear, the town of Valona in the southern part of the province has an excellent resort with healing springs. What if Gloria took a vacation there for a moment to improve her health and have some rest by the sea? Gloria shakes her head hesitantly. Are you trying to get rid of me, Volker? So I won't be in your way? What am I supposed to do with some twins' forsaken spa? Patiently explain to Gloria that she'll be able to enjoy some reading, find inspiration contemplating the waves, and ponder on her future. And then, when she comes back, she and Stefan will calmly discuss their issues. Finally, Gloria gives in. A trip to Valona will be costly. I'd like to know who will pay for it. You will. Speaking first and foremost to your father, you argue that peace in the family is worth any expense. The two of you should indeed spend some time away from each other. Let it be as you suggested, Volker. Gloria, stop packing. Stefan, please send a note to Valona and hire a carriage for your sister. Gloria reluctantly heads off to the coast. This trip forces the family to spend a hefty sum, but without the constant bickering of your brother and sister, the tension at home quickly dissolves. With no need to keep an eye on Gloria, Stefan devotes himself to Anizotte's social life. Okay, so we lose even more. Oh, we're now in poverty. Gloria returns surprisingly serene after a month in Valona. Her temper is mellowed for a time. She is engrossed in her own affairs and does not draw her brother's ire. Okay, but I worked better in manipulation and eloquence. That works. I am quite the dastardly manipulator so far. The last straw. The past few weeks in Anizotte resemble your first years in the capital, when you and Sophia were recruiting people to join the Lotless. You were so full of hope and ambition back then. Slowly you both begin to make useful friends and acquaintances in the city. Gendarmes, street peddlers, merchants, laborers, vagrants, and each of them requires a unique approach. The techniques you used in Eterna work here as well. You look for the people you need, plan secret meetings, and make sure everything is secure. Sophia delivers one ardent speech after another, berating the Imperial Order. But so far, only few people have stayed with you after these meetings. You have to hunt for each new member all over the city. Commoners are too afraid. Only the most desperate or insane are ready to join you. There are two members in particular who stand out. One is Father Fouad, a creaky old priest with fire in his eyes. He introduces himself as a commoner who has chosen the preacher's path. Does that mean he is a new believer? Fouad scoffs at the question. I'll put it this way. The only words that are true are those the twins tell you themselves, and I've heard their voice plenty. But the priests who just cook up some nonsense and call it divine law, they're either crooks or fools, all of them. And Asatius is the biggest crook and fool of them all. Had he lived in another city of the Empire, he would already have been burned at the stake for these words. But here in Anizotte, Fouad freely preaches in various taverns and squares. Moreover, the old man is well educated, so you hire him as a typesetter, and even let him sleep in the storeroom. When the time comes to assemble a mob or spread some rumors, he will surely come in handy. The other is Alida Serene, who works at the print shop as a bookbinder. A quiet and innocuous a young woman, she nevertheless believes in your words and your struggle with all her heart, and her innocent appearance hides an ardent will. Why would she choose to fight against the Empire when Alida explains you do not expect to hear cold steel in her voice? My sister was hanged in Turner after the trial of the 50. I know I might sound like a weepy little girl, but I'm not looking for pity. I just want her murderers to hang. That's it. Sophia's speeches are always brimming with passion and sincerity. She speaks out against the injustice of the Empire and calls for people to fight with such intensity that sometimes you find yourself getting swept up by her words, nodding along with the rest. When she speaks, Felipe's plan and the secret chancery disappear, replaced by a vision of a new world where justice and freedom reign. But this illusion passes every time, and when it does, the truth about your conspiracy always feels more crushing than ever. You gave all your employees a day off today. Sir Felipe El Ferro is coming to Anizotte. Your print shop is the first place he will visit. Sophia stuffs tobacco into her pipe over and over again, trying to look calm behind the smoke. You hear the sound of hooves and wheels on cobblestone. A carriage comes to a halt outside. A man walks past the windows and knocks at the heavy front door and the handle of his cane. Or with the handle of his cane. You open it hurriedly. Felipe is not alone. He is accompanied by a man with sinewy arms and a face of a predator. Once inside, the secret chancery advisor slowly takes off his cloak and inspects the premises with care. Sophia was right. Excellent choice. Well done, Brante. I had my doubts about you, but those doubts are gradually being eased. You are indeed a man of many talents. Speaking of talents, allow me to introduce you to Oliver Moss, an old friend of mine. I brought him all the way from Eterna to help you out. His skills are even more unusual than yours, Bronte. It's amazing how much a person can learn to do when he's well paid. Well paid, you say? Interesting. Oliver grins at Felipe's words. The toothy smile cuts through his face like a gruesome scar. You flatter me, Sir Felipe, but you're right. Coin works wonders. Hired goon of great skill who works for the last straw, always willing to get his hands dirty for the promise of coin. Felipe chuckles at that. He produces a small flask from a pocket and takes a little sip. But you, Sophia, you disappoint me. I expected to see a functioning organization, but I am told that what you have here is not a secret society but a miserable rabble of the worst people in this city. Just look at this self-proclaimed priest Fouad. We are in Anizotte, this hotbed of heresy and rebellious ideas. How come you aren't able to find skillful conspirators here? I need a nice little revolt that's easy to suppress. I need a network of spies to dig up dirt on anyone who may stand in our way. Is it too much to ask? You did this job perfectly well in Eterna. What's the matter, Sophia? Can't you do the same thing again? Sir Felipe, Brante and I are going out of our way to get more people into our ranks, but things are not looking too good for us right now. The province has a new overseer. Citizens are hopeful. They expect change. So the only people who came to us are who are at the very bottom of life. This rabble is dangerous. They will ruin my plan, and they will bring you and Bronte to the gallows, and this time I won't be able to do anything for you. Get rid of them and find conspirators who can be trusted with real work. I have too many enemies here in Anizotte. The local magistrate alone is a huge thorn in my side. You have to act faster. This time is of the essence. Or maybe you have more important things to do than serving the Empire. We are doing everything in our power, Sir Felipe. But in order to prepare your plan, we must recruit as many people as possible, and this is what we are doing. Don't try my patience, Sophia. I said get rid of the rabble. Find the real conspirators. Carefully vet each and every one of them. Sophia lowers her head, unable to further argue with the powerful advisor. Felipe suddenly turns to you. Bronte, you're the main recruiter for the society. What do you say? Can you do this job for me? You are ready to carry out Felipe's order and carefully vet everyone who wants to join the underground. Sorry, Sophia. Nothing I could have done even if I wanted to. But I think it's an answer I'm worth taking. You readily answer that you will follow Sir Felipe's order. It is dangerous and stupid to recruit strangers without any vetting. You will make every effort to select only skilled and reliable conspirators. You and Sophia made a mistake, but you will fix it. Sophia scoffs at that. Sir Alfaro, however, pats you on the shoulder. Well said, Brante. We'll do just that. As for you, Sophia, I don't suggest testing my patience any further. You're one straw away from breaking the horse's back. Speaking of straws, I believe your secret society still needs a name, right? The last straw will do just fine. It's cheap, grim, pompous. The lowborn ought to like it. Oliver, I'm leaving you in care of our rebels. Show them how real secret chancellery agents get things done. Felipe downs the last of his flask and walks out of the print shop. Sophia follows him without saying a word. You are left alone with Oliver. He looks you over. We're gonna get along just fine, Bronte. Don't you worry. Okay, Felipe likes me more. Sophia is distasted with me. Spy network +1. Infiltration. Willpower +5. Okay, full of power. The last straw is growing stronger by the day. More and more names are being added to your list of potential recruits. Dress fancy tomorrow, Brante, but don't look too rich. We're going to a salon, a gathering of young poets. They're all commoners, mostly new believers, so they think they aren't defying their lot by writing poetry. This will be their first meeting ever. I say we take a gander. Who knows? They could be useful. You go to a small building in the very heart of the city. The first floor was once a tavern, but it has been converted into a stage with benches for the audience. The place is noisy and crowded. Those who cannot find a seat squeeze into the spaces between the benches. You and Sophia stand in the back corners, far away from each other. A young man in a threadbare jacket makes an announcement. Welcome to the first weekly gathering of the Anizotte Poetry Society. The poets are all young men and women. They take turns walking up to the stage from the benches to read a poem or two of their own creation. They look humble and shy at first, but as they declaim their stanzas, their voices ring with sudden strength and daring fervor. A mighty giant with his head held high, his heavy tread, his trained and measured stride. He is an effigy of low-born life, with naught but chaff and rags and dust inside. By low-born labor granted food and clothing, he is indeed a terrifying sight. But look behind his eyes, and you will find not grandeur or renown, but fear and loathing. Oh, I'm wondering if Gloria's gonna end up here somehow. Behold the azure skin, the bread contempt, their past long turned to ash, their blue blood bled, their majesty in flames, their mantles rent, ensconced in diamonds white and rubies red, their glimmering giant rots, his essence spent. The gems may glitter, but the husk is dead. The poems recited on stage display exceptional variety, rhymed on Rhymed couplets, blank verse, short stanzas, lengthy cantos, pathos-laden ballads, vulgar screeds, humorous epigrams, scathing tirades, but in each and every voice you hear the same pain, the same weary ache born in servitude, the gnawing grievance with the gods, the simmering rage against the empire, and dreams of another destiny, another life, another existence. A commoner, the word is like a brand. The twins themselves once told me to be silent. I want to scream, can't take this anymore. The misery around me knows no end. The gentlefolk just beat us and demean us. The young, the old, the poor, the sick, the tired. They tread upon us, gazing at the heavens that feed upon our sweat-soaked suffering. Every poem fills the room with loud applause. Every line resounds in people's hearts. This much is clear from their face. Some mark every word and verse with a nod, while others cannot hold back tears. With the zeal of preachers guiding their flock to their lot, these young poets chastise the ills of worldly life, and with every word they utter. You join in the applause. Like it or not, their poetry hits home. Some of the poems are crafted so well you find yourself eager to read them. This kind of poetry would be in great demand here at Anizotte. What a shame no print shop would agree to publish it. Later that night, you rejoin Sophia to discuss what you have seen. I've never heard anything like that before. I'm used to nursery rhymes and bawdy drinking songs, but this is something else. You cannot help but nod. The meeting was like a sermon, and the poet's words hit as hard and as true as a sacramental lash. In the audience, you recognize the look in their eyes. People look at Sophia just the same way every time she uses her magic. The thing is, they have no magic, but they can see the truth, and they talk about it so well you can't even stand it. What can I say? I'm glad we went. Those kids could easily spark a riot with just a rhyme or two. The question is, what are we supposed to do with them? It is a good question indeed. A difficult question. As young poets are at their strongest when they speak from the heart, trying to tame their ardor would be like playing with fire. You could recruit them, but it would not be easy to use them. If you cannot keep them in check one day, they will inevitably incite a rebellion. Maybe it would be wiser to nip this in the bud and put an end to their society now. The Secret Chancellor could easily deal with them, but you could also report them to the prefecture. The gendarmes could take care of them in no time, or maybe you could pass the case along to Father. It might do his career some good. Or, perhaps, this all seems so new, so unknown. Is there any other way you could harness this strange new force of nature? Don't have enough scheming, though. The prefecture will take care of those rebels to be. Publish a book of their poetry, don't have enough manipulation. What do you mean I don't have Gloria's secret? I thought I already knew about her secret. It was writing poetry. Felipe handled them. The Secret Chancellor will take care of those rebels to be. You convince the most gifted poets to join your underground society. Yeah, they do have some very strong grievances, so it might be best not to recruit them. It's a shame I can't publish a book of their poetry. If only I was manipulative enough. I can't report the poets to my father because I'm not good enough at scheming. But I will recruit the poets. You assure Sophia that your underground society could use these gifted young men and women. They're still so young, so trusting. It makes sense to recruit them. Okay, I'll let you handle this. For the next few weeks, you diligently attend every single meeting of the Poetry Society. Once you become a regular, you carefully probe several of the poets, those whose verses have the most bite to them. It is a simple matter to convince them to come to the Last Straw hideout. Your poetically endowed recruits eagerly join the ranks of the society. They quickly become a cornerstone of your organization. Their voices turn the dissonant gaggle of voices into a heartfelt choir, eager to act, eager to riot. Their poems are quoted more and more often by the Last Straw members. They are declaimed by young people in the squares and on the streets. They are put to music and sung in taverns. They are written in paint and soot on the walls. More and more young people recite them instead of prayers. I want to scream. Can't take this anymore. Bronte, you were right about recruiting them. They never cease to amaze me. They're so sincere and it's infectious. When they speak, sometimes even I forget about the sleazy game we're playing. Spy Network -1. Okay, yeah, it did go down a little bit. But we do have a little bit of unrest. Represents how rebellious the commoners of the province are. Eloquence. I have clear speech now. No longer tongue-tied. Okay, I think we will have to end the video here because we have just run out of time, but I think this will be a good place to end the video after that, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. Give that like button a stab if you did. Subscribe if you want more Death in Your Life. Be sure the bell is tolling for thee, and until next time, rest in peace. Bye! Enjoyed today's video? Well, there's plenty more for you to enjoy here, and if you also want to support this small channel, then there is also my Ko-fi, which is available, as well as a Twitter thread that gives you my commissioning info, and if you'd like some traditional art or literature, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Thank you for enjoying the video and for your viewership.